Jungle.
Hey guys, welcome back to my podcast. Today we are going to be talking about Bridgerton. Now, I feel like most people have at least heard about the series. I feel like it kind of took the world by storm when it came out, and so I know a lot of people watched the first season. I definitely did, and there is a prequel in the works. So I wanted to kind of talk about that and maybe possibly doing a rewatch of Bridgerton and kind of coming on here and being able to talk to you guys about it, even though yes, it already came out. Two seasons have already come out so far. And there is a third in the works as well as the prequel, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Don't mind me, and I have my little Starbucks order. Let me know what your Starbucks order is. Can you guys guess what mine is? Mine is not coffee. It's actually just a chai tea latte. That's like my drink all the time. Even when it's hot, I drink it. I drink it iced, and then when it's cold, I make sure I get like the latte. Like pretty much the hot version of it. It's all the same thing. And I have mine with almond milk, in case you guys are wondering, because I know people want to know. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about Bridgerton. And then there was also another thing that I kind of just come across recently. I honestly didn't know that until I saw it. I don't always keep up with new Netflix releases. I know for the most part, if it's like a big series that's coming soon, then they'll talk about it on social media. But for this one, Lindsay Lohan is in a Netflix movie, which I was a little surprised to see. I feel like we really have not seen Lindsay Lohan in quite a while, and obviously, like we know that she struggled being in the spotlight, and I believe I don't want to speak wrong. I think she might have had a drug problem. If it wasn't drugs, it might have been alcohol. It was something. I think she, like abused substances back in the day, um and she's always, for the longest time, always had a hard time just being in the spotlight and kind of staying afloat, I think. So she disappeared for a while, and then she came back, and I think she was saying that she was much better now, like in a better place, and then she kind of disappeared again, and now I guess she's back. She's in a new Netflix movie, and so I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit, although I don't really know much about it. It's actually out now, so if you want to go and watch it, you can. I plan on watching it. I haven't seen it yet, but I plan on trying to watch it hopefully over the weekend, and then maybe next weekend we can talk about it a little bit more, and I can tell you guys like what I thought about it, or if you liked it, if you didn't, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I have in store today. Um, so I'm trying to wonder, or I should say, I'm trying to think if I should get into Bridgerton first, or if I should get into the Netflix movie first, because the Bridgerton conversation will obviously be longer. So let's get into that. I think we should get into that. That's going to be the meat of today's episode. Um, so anyway, I always try to tell people like, when I'm talking about different movies or TV shows or whatever subject I'm discussing, I try to give people a little like overview, because I know that if somebody listens, they may not necessarily know what I'm talking about. I don't want to assume that everybody knows about Bridgerton or that everybody's seen it. But if you haven't, it is a show on Netflix, so pretty much this whole episode is going to be about Netflix, I guess. Netflix, sponsor me if you see this. Actually, I shouldn't say that because I already have a sponsor, but if Netflix can kind of get in there too, so maybe we can get some free previews on some of the stuff that's coming up. That'd be pretty cool to do that. Anyway, off topic. I decided to talk about Bridgerton because I feel like it's one of those shows that came out and it was just like a whirlwind, you know what I mean? It came out, and I think it was the timing. I think that's what really made it blow up. I mean, it is a really great show anyway, so it probably would have done well, but I just feel like the timing was on point. So the first season, the show premiered December 2020, and as you guys know, as everybody know, we were all in the house during that time. Everybody was under lock, pretty much under lock and key. So I think most people had more time to watch television, to tune into movies and stuff. A lot of movies at that time were going straight to streaming. They weren't in theaters because people weren't able to go. So we were getting a lot of content at that time. I guess that's one of the good things that came out of that year. So that dropped. I think it might have dropped. I'm trying to remember if it dropped like on Christmas, or if it was a little bit before or after. I know it was December 2020, and I didn't watch it right away because you guys know how I am. I'm never like early to things. I'm always like late getting into something that becomes popular. But um I ended up watching it the following year, but I know it dropped at that time. So that came out, and again, literally everybody was talking about it. Um Everybody was going crazy over Reggae Jean Page, who is the actor that plays Simon in the show. So he's one of the main characters in season one. And he is beautiful. That man is beautiful. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie. I understand clearly why people are going crazy over him. And what's funny is I remember him in the new version of Roots that came out. I don't remember what year it came out. It might have been 2016, 17, something like that, which was phenomenal. If you guys have not seen the new version of Roots, it's so like I watched it more than once because it was that good. It's brutal, like it's not easy to watch, but it was so good. Like everybody that was a part of that did an amazing job, and he was in that show. He played Chicken George, and so that was kind of like the first time I think I seen him because um he's not American, so he didn't. I don't think he really like hit the states, if you know what I mean. Like he didn't really hit the American audience until he was in this, and I think so many people have noticed him much more now because of that. But it was just funny because like I remembered him from that, and he was like a little bit younger then, so it was like, oh, he's in this show, okay, because I didn't really recognize any of the other actors, I don't think, when I was getting into it. I'm trying to think. Did I know any of the other? No, I really didn't. I'm sure they've been in other things. I just didn't recognize it. He was the only one that I kind of knew of. So going into it, I thought that was kind of like cool that he was in that, and that now he's gotten some really good recognition and stuff, and you can see that he's a really great actor. He really played the role, I think, in both things, not just Bridgerton, and in the new Root series as well. And I think he was in some type of law show. I don't think it lasted that long. It might have been like a only like one or two seasons, and then it got canceled. And I always said I wanted to watch that, never did. Let me know, comment down below, or let me know if you know what I'm talking about. He was in the show. I swear he played like a lawyer, I think, or a detective. I think he was a lawyer. I don't know, but anyway, that's what I knew him from. And so he plays the Duke of Hastings. Um, and so he's pretty much like the big bachelor in the show, the one that all the ladies want, basically. And so the story revolves around him and Daphne Bridgerton, and it's pretty much their love story, and it's kind of like a coming of age story for her, I think, because she's definitely like the innocent type. Like she's kind of been, I guess you could say she's been sheltered, I guess. She's always just been like around her family, like her siblings and her mom. Her dad passed away. So it's like her mom and her siblings. And that's kind of who throughout her whole life, that's who she's revolved herself with. And she's never really been out into the world on her own. And so I think when, they develop a friendship, which is what I really love about it. They develop a friendship first, even though it's kind of like, they do the whole like, let's pretend we're dating, so that way XYZ, and then obviously like when people do that in movies or TV shows, they're gonna really end up falling for each other, which is what happens. So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, they do end up together at the end. But I think for her that was like, it was all like brand new for both of them, really. But from her perspective, it was very much like, I'm sure she never had a boyfriend, never been with anybody, and she was just very like, naive and innocent in that way. And so, I don't know. I love their story. I love how they had a friendship first, and then it developed into something more, and it was super complicated, and it was like very like up and down, but they got it together in the end, basically. And so the show takes place in London, and it's basically a Regency era, I guess you can call it, or what would you call it? Like a period drama. That's what it is. So if you're into period dramas, you'll probably really love this. I kind of like them. Like it kind of just depends on the story, I think, because sometimes those types of shows or those types of movies are really like tragic a lot of the times. But in this case, there was a happy ending, so I really enjoyed it. But anyway, Yeah, so pretty much the whole series is based off of novels, actually. So it's based off of books written by Julia Quinn. I've never read the books. I heard the books are very different from the TV show, so just know that going into it if you happen to purchase the books or um if you kind of want to read, because sometimes I'm like that too, where I want to read the book just to get a little bit more in detailed and get a little bit more of a backstory, I guess, on each main character because I feel like you know more about them when you read about it versus just watching. And I kind of wanted to do that, but then I heard that the books are really different. So I was like, that kind of, it might mess it up for me. So I might not read the books, at least not right now. Maybe later on. But so there are books, again, if you want to go see them. I don't know what the actual title is. I'm not sure if it's called Bridgerton because each book is following a different story of each Bridgerton sibling, if that makes sense. So like obviously, Daphne, it's her coming of age story and it's her love story with Simon. And then in season 2, which we got last year, I think, it follows Anthony Bridgerton, which is Daphne's brother. He's like the older brother. It follows pretty much his love story with a woman named Kate. Season 2 is really good as well. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But there's a book on them, and then there's a book on like every other sibling. I don't even remember how many siblings there are. There's probably like 7 or 8 of them. So there's quite a few books for you guys to get into if you want to. Um, and if you've read them or if you are reading them right now, please let me know like how it is, if you like it, if you enjoy the series more over the books or vice versa. If you actually like the books better than the series, let me know because I've heard that it's really different. So I'm curious to see how different it is or if it's if it's as happy, I guess, as they make it in the show, or if it's actually a little bit more darker in the novels. I'm not too sure, and I'm not too sure either when the books were written, in comparison to when the show came out. So I'm assuming the books had to have been written maybe like a few years prior before the show came out for them to kind of like get everything together. And then if you guys didn't know, the show is actually produced by Shonda Rhimes. So I'm sure a lot of you guys, recognize that name. Shonda Rhimes is behind a lot of hit TV shows. So she's definitely a good producer. I feel like she always gets her hands in things that are going to be successful. So she was a part of, a Grey's Anatomy and Scandal, which was a big one. I think I don't know how many seasons of Scandal I watched. I didn't watch the whole series because it was a lot, y'all. It was a lot. But that was a really good show. And I'm sure she's done a bunch of other things, but I know those two were kind of like the main ones that most people kind of recognize her from. But she's a part of this as well, so I guess I should tell you something that's a really good show. And then let me see what I wrote down in my notes because y'all, I have not watched. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I rewatched season 1 like 3 times. But this was all like last year. I haven't watched it this year at all. So it's kind of hard to remember everything that's happened and then versus like what happened in season 2 and everything. Um but anyway, let me jump back into what I was saying before. So season 2 follows Anthony and Kate and their love story. Now, their story is pretty different than Daphne's and Simon's because Anthony is not innocent at all. He's the older brother of the Bridgerton siblings. And then remember, I said their dad died, so their dad isn't in the picture. So he's pretty much like the only, I shouldn't say the only male figure, but he's like the main one because there's other brothers, but he's the oldest. And so he kind of has that pressure on him. And then he also puts pressure on himself to take care of his family as well. I kind of think he puts the pressure on himself more than anybody else does, to be honest. So he's like, he's been out there in the world. He was there like when his father died and everything. Like he remembers all of that again because he's the oldest, and so he's kind of been through some things, and he's definitely, I guess, more wild, you can say. And he's been with women and all that kind of stuff. So in the first season, he was messing around with this one lady. Don't remember her name, you guys. Let me know if you remember her name. And she was I think she was like an opera singer or something like that. But I guess to society, you have to remember this was like back in time. So in societies, I guess, expectations, she didn't really live up to the type of woman that he should be with because of the type of family he comes from. Like his family has money, they have like an estate and all that kind of stuff. And so they pretty much were just like messing around behind the scenes. And that's kind of like what we mainly saw from him in the first season. Him kind of going back and forth with this woman because he wanted to be with her, but then it was like, I have a responsibility to be the man of the house with my family. Um, and pretty much keep the legacy of his father going and all that kind of stuff. So, that didn't work out because of that. And then in season 2, he ends up meeting Kate, and she like, I mean, she just does not back down from him. And I really loved that about their story. She's very like, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking on the word I'm thinking, you guys, but if you've seen it, you know how she is. She's very like, honest, and she's just a strong woman. And I think that was different for him to see. Again, especially considering the time period. I mean, his mom is a pretty strong woman, but I think compared to Kate, like she was very much like more outspoken. And even when she didn't really know Anthony that well, she wasn't afraid to kind of like go up against him, and say whatever it was that she was feeling or what she was thinking. And I think that, obviously enticed him, because he's like, hold on, you're a woman and you're talking to me this way, like we barely even know each other and you're already like forming these opinions about me. And it's just like, I think, again, he never really had that, and so that was really enticing for him. And I think for her too, like he went up against her as well, and they were like this, but it was like, it was almost kind of like foreplay for them. Is That's the way I view it anyway. But yeah, so I loved the show in its entirety. There's also a third season coming out because, again, there are multiple books for each sibling. So, as you can imagine, season 3 is rumored to follow Penelope and Colin Bridgerton. So, Colin is, I don't remember if he's well, he's not the youngest because there's actually 2 little siblings, but he might be one of the, at least out of the 3 older brothers, I think he's the youngest out of them, if that makes sense. And so I think it's supposed to revolve around his love story with Penelope, and Penelope is one of the other main characters. She's in season 1 and season 2. She's friends with Eloise. Eloise is one of the Bridgerton sisters, and so they're best friends. And she is like head over heels about Colin, and he has no idea, or at least I don't think he has any idea. If he does, he doesn't act like it. And so he has his own love story in season 1 with another woman, but that does not work out. And so um, I would say in season 2, if I remember correctly, again, it was kind of just like Penelope kind of like pining over him, and him just not realizing that she wants to be much more than friends. And he's always like, oh, you're a good friend and you're this and you're that. And she's just like, dude, like, why can't you see me as more than that? And it's actually pretty sad because you could tell she's like really hurt by that. And it's not like she can tell her best friend because that's her best friend's brother. And so I'm sure like that would be weird. And so she kind of just keeps all of this bottled inside. And then, on top of that, she has a really, really big secret that she's keeping from everybody. And I think that, that kind of like, I don't want to say that's going to bite her in the butt later on, but it kind of looks like it will. I won't say what the secret is in case you guys haven't seen it, but it's a pretty big secret. But she's one of my favorite characters in the show for sure. So I'm really interested in seeing what's going to happen with them. Like, I feel like, of course, they're going to end up together, but I'm curious to see how that's going to happen because this whole time he's been like friend zoning her. So I'm just like, what's going to happen for him to like all of a sudden be like, okay, I'm seeing you as more than a friend. Like, I don't know. I feel like maybe he's going to get jealous or something, or I don't know, but I feel like it'll be pretty good. Because I feel like both seasons have delivered. So I feel like for certain, like season 3 will be good. And it'll be kind of like the same cast coming back, except for Simon, he's not in it. He's not in season two. So I don't think he'll be in the rest of the series, but unfortunately, unless he makes like some appearance or something, but he's not going to be a main character anymore. So, and I was kind of scared about that a little bit. Like after I found out he wasn't going to be in it, I was just like, do I want to watch season two if he's not in it? But it's really good. So I recommend you guys watching if you haven't. It is a pretty like rated R mature show. So just know like if you're going into it, probably wouldn't watch it with kids or anything. But it's really good. Like it's really fascinating for sure. And I love the music, the score. If you guys listen closely when you're watching the episodes, the music that they're playing, it makes it sound like pretty much like music that they would play back in the day, but what the instrumental is like pop music from today, if that makes sense. So like they did like a Taylor Swift instrumental, and then they did like an Ariana Grande instrumental, but they're playing it through like violins and all that kind of stuff, so it doesn't sound like out of place. It actually fits in really well. So whoever came up with that idea was like really clever. I thought that was really cool that they did that. And I missed that the first time I watched it until somebody pointed it out to me. And I was like, wait, what? They was playing my girl Ariana Grande? Like, what? I didn't even realize that. But yeah, they did that. So some pretty unique things to that show. And yeah, I'm gonna get into what I've heard about the prequel so far. So if you guys didn't know, like I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, a prequel or a spin-off, I guess you can call it, is in the works for Bridgerton, and I'm excited about that as well. And so I definitely want to discuss that. But before I do that, let me remind you guys that my podcast is sponsored by Streann Media. And the way I'm able to go live with you guys every week on Facebook is through the Streann Studio software. So if you guys have never heard of Streann Media or Streann Studio, I highly recommend that you check it out, especially if you're a content creator or if you're looking to get into content creation. This is a really great platform to use. It's very simple and easy to use. I mean, if I'm using it, then you could use it as well because I'm not a techie person at all. So just go to studio.streann.com. And it'll take you right into the Streann Studio software. All you need is an email to log in. They give you a login code, you're in, so you don't have to worry about signing up, paying for anything or anything like that. You don't have to create a username and a password like you do for most websites, which is so annoying because who has time to remember that many passwords? You know what I'm saying? So having your email is really all you need, and you're in. And Streann Media does specialize in live streaming. So, again, if you are looking into getting into live streaming, or if that's something you like to do, definitely check out Streann Media and specifically Streann Studio. And they have social media accounts. You can go on their Instagram or their Facebook, Twitter, and check out more about the features that are available for the Streann Studio, and then anything else, really, because there might be something else that will catch your eye. If maybe you don't want to do content creation, you're like, oh, but I'm still interested in checking them out. Definitely check out their Instagrams. I shouldn't say Instagram. And any of their other social media pages, and kind of find out what they're all about. Anyway, let's get back into Bridgerton. So there is a prequel in the works, and it's going to be all about Queen Charlotte. So in the original series, there is a queen, because again, they're in London. So there is a king and queen, but the king, King George, he's like, I don't remember if did they specifically say what was wrong with him in season one. I'm really I've rewatched it multiple times, but it's been quite a while since I've seen it, so I really don't remember certain details like outside of what happens with Daphne and Simon. But I know the king is not mentally well, because they don't show him that much in the show. I mean, he's still alive, but he's like, um I don't know what he is all the way. I think maybe he has dementia. I could be completely wrong. It's either dementia or he just has some type of mental illness. And it's probably something that they didn't know about back then, like something that they didn't, have like the right medications, didn't really know how to treat. And so for the most part, he's kind of like in the background in the show. And so the Queen Charlotte, she pretty much has to rule everything. And the queen is black, by the way, and the king is white. And so in this prequel, it's going to be all about her, but when she's younger. So when she meets King George and how they fall in love, and I'm assuming maybe how she becomes queen and everything like that, and what that's like for her and what happens between them, because they do love each other, despite him not being like there all the way. She does really, really love him. And that's like the really sad part about it, because you could tell she loves him, but he's he's just not like the same person that he used to be. And so we're going to get to see like the beginning of pretty much like the origins of their relationship, and I'm like really excited to see that because I feel like that's going to be really good. And they even shown an exclusive clip a while back. It's on YouTube if you haven't seen it. Um and from what I've heard, there's supposed to be a release date sometime next year, so 2023, which is, not that far away. Actually, it's already November, which is crazy. And we're going to be going into December soon. Like, what? Anyway, so sometime next year, I don't know. Hopefully, it'll be more towards the beginning of next year, but we'll see. Because it looks like clearly if they're showing clips, that means they've already like shot for the show and everything. I don't know if they've wrapped production and if they're done with it. I'm assuming they probably are. Maybe they're just like editing right now, but um, if that's the case, then we should be getting it soon, or getting another trailer, getting an actual trailer, I should say, and then we'll get to see a little bit more of what's going to happen. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. You guys, let me know if you plan on watching it when it comes out. If you think it could possibly be better than like the original Bridgerton series, I don't know, maybe. It just, from what I've seen, it just looks like it's going to be pretty good, and from what I've heard too, because of course Shonda Rhimes is still going to be a part of it. Um, and the actress, I don't know her name, but the actress that will be playing the young Queen Charlotte, she looks like she's gonna, do the character justice and everything. And I'm pretty sure the lady that plays the older version of Queen Charlotte is a part of that. So with them working together and everything, I think they'll be able to deliver like a really good performance. And and like when the clip came out, people were like, "Oh, the guy that's playing the king is cute and everything." Again, I don't know his name. I don't know a lot of these actors that are part of the show, but um, wherever they're getting these people from, they know how to do it. I'm gonna just say it like that. So I'm excited for that. And again, let me know if you guys plan on watching. Um, if you haven't seen the clip, it is on YouTube. So go and watch it and comment down below, and just let me know like what you think. Do you have any theories? I mean, again, obviously we know that they're going to end up together, but do you have any theories as to what's going to happen with Queen Charlotte, or maybe how they get together? Because from the clip, it looks like she's not really, I don't know, it looks like she's not really too fond of him in the clip. So, it might be again one of those. I don't want to say it's going to be like Anthony and Kate because they were really like butting heads, but it might be something similar to that where maybe they're not on the best of terms in the beginning and then eventually they, become friends and they kind of fall for each other. But I don't know. I think it'll be cool. I'm just a sucker for a good rom-com, and I feel like we've been kind of lacking with those. I mean, technically rom-coms is usually like, you usually consider that to be like a movie, and this is a series obviously. But I don't know, I just feel like they've been able to balance like the love story but like the drama, and then add a little bit of humor to it as well. So I think they do a good job of showcasing all of that in the show. And I'm looking forward to it. What can I say? Now, I do have a controversial opinion, but I'm gonna say, and I want to know what you guys think. So, am I the only one that liked season one better than season two? Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because when season two came out, and like again, season two came out and I didn't watch it like right away, so I was already seeing like the comments flooding in on social media on what they thought about it, and everybody was talking about how good it was. And I seen a lot of people, or I seen a good amount of people saying, "Oh my god, like this outdid season one." Like, I thought, Daphne and Simon had a good love story, but woo, like Anthony and Kate, theirs was like this and that and that. And I was like, wow, really? Like, it's that good? Okay. So I went into it thinking, like, I don't know, I guess thinking that I was going to like it better than season one, and I didn't. And that's no shade to the actors or anything. Because, like I said, I love both seasons, and I think they've done a good job, like, delivering, you know what I mean? Because sometimes you watch a show and it's like, oh, the first season was so good, and then you go into season two and it's like it wasn't good. Like something with the production or the writing or the acting or whatever just fell through. And I don't feel like that's the case with this show at all. I think they've been able to like they've had great like continuity. They've been able to keep up with what they like what they did in the first season. So I'm not saying that, but I don't know. Maybe it's something about like Simon and Daphne's love story that I resonated with a little bit more than Anthony and Kate's, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I kind of came out of it was like that was really good, but like I still would rather rewatch. Like I said, I rewatched season 1 like 2 or 3 times, and I honestly like would go back and rewatch it again. And that's another thing I wanted to mention. If you guys want me to do like a rewatch and we could talk about like each episode of season 1, there's 8 episodes for each season, so I could do that if you guys want me to. I'm thinking about doing that. Just give me an excuse to rewatch Bridgerton, to be honest. Um, then I'll do it. But yeah, I was like, I would love to go back and rewatch season 1, but for season 2, I was like, I feel like watching it once was enough for me. And that told me right there that I was like, yeah, I liked season 1 better, because if I really, really like something, like I'll keep watching it over and over again. Like I'll run it into the ground. I didn't do that with season 2. Like I haven't watched it since it came out. Um, Meaning like I watched it the one time all the way through and then that was it. I haven't watched it again. So I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Again, I'm not like saying season 2 wasn't good or that it didn't deliver anything. But just for me, like if I had to choose, I would definitely say season 1 was a little bit better, in my opinion. In my personal opinion, do not come for me. Um, but yeah, and I think too, maybe that was why I was a little bit disappointed that Simon wasn't going to be in the show in season 2, because I was like I really, even though he got on my nerves sometimes, but I really liked his character, and I think he went through a lot of like character development. And him and Daphne both went through so much growth once they got together, and it was kind of like, okay, now that we're together, that doesn't fix everything. Like just because we're married, we're still going to have all these problems that we had before, and now it's just elevated because we're together all the time. So I think once they got married, they realized like, marriage is not easy. Like it's not going to come easy. We have to work at it. And also working at it means working on our own individual selves, and that's what I really liked about, I guess, the relationship and stuff. Even though, like I said, it was a lot of like, oh my God, like y'all get it together, get it together. But I mean, that's a part of the drama. That's what makes it good. That's what makes you want to keep watching and tuning in. And that's why people were like binge watching it and everything. I know I did. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I really, really, really loved season 1, and like I said, I think I might go back and rewatch it, and so we can kind of get into like the nitty gritty and like the details, and there might be some things that I missed the first time around or the first couple times because I watched it more than once. But I feel like when I do that, when I rewatch something, I'm like, oh, I didn't notice that before. Like sometimes I come to a new realization about a character or a situation, and I like rewatching stuff for that reason, just to be able to kind of analyze it a little bit better. But again, let me know if you guys would like me to do that. And so that will kind of be like the next series that I do I guess if you want to call it a deep dive or whatever, that will be the next series. I could do a recap or episode discussion, that type of thing. What I was doing with Barry and Stranger Things and all that stuff. I know I kind of like paused on that for a while because I was having a hard time figuring out what show I wanted to do that with and what show maybe like you guys would like. Because I didn't want to pick something and then it's like nobody else is watching it but me, and I'm just sitting here like babbling about it, and everybody's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I feel like that's a show again that most people have seen, and I think most people have Netflix. So maybe if you haven't seen it, you can kind of watch it with me as I'm doing the rewatch and everything, and I'll be doing discussions for it. But of course, if you guys do not want me to do that, or if you think there's a better show that I should do that with, then I will do that. But as of right now, I'm kind of leaning towards rewatching it, so we'll see. I just have to make time to rewatch it because each episode is like an hour, so it's not short. But the hour goes by kind of fast though because a lot happens in like each episode. There's a lot that I feel like there's a lot to unpack. I'll say it like that. So yeah, that's my opinion, controversial opinion. You can let me know like what you think, if you agree or if you don't agree, and why. And again, if you read the books, you might have a completely different opinion because I'm sure the way that they're depicted in the series is a little bit different than in the books. So I don't know. And maybe too, because Anthony wasn't really like my favorite in season 1. I think he was so much better in season 2. Like I definitely, I guess, liked him better in season 2. But for some reason in season 1, I was just like, you're a mess. You're such a mess. Like, and I think too, because it was like the way he was going about trying to help Daphne, and he was more so like trying to make decisions for her. And I didn't really care for that, I guess. But I know he meant well. It wasn't like he was trying to be like spiteful or he was trying to be controlling or anything like that, but that's the way he was coming off, I think, in this first season. So maybe that was why too, going into the second season, why I wasn't really as invested, I guess. I don't know. Um, but yeah, let's transition out of Bridgerton. I feel like I've talked enough about that. And then just a reminder before I get into the next subject, my podcast is sponsored by Stream Media. So thank you to Stream Media for sponsoring me. And again, you guys can check them out at studio.streann.com. And Streann is spelled with two N's. So Streann. And check them out if you're a content creator. If you want to get into content creation, really good platform to use. I'm using it myself, so I can tell you firsthand that it is pretty cool. I've had a really good time using it. You know, I started using it earlier this year. And it's been really fun. It's been really cool. It's not something I ever thought I would do, but I'm doing it and I've been enjoying myself. And hopefully you guys that have been tuning in or listening to me, or if this is your first time coming across me, you know, hopefully you're enjoying it as well. And yeah, let's jump into the Lindsay Lohan movie. So she has put out a movie called Falling for Christmas. And again, it's on Netflix. So I think it just came out. And I was looking on Netflix earlier and I saw that was like one of the top movies. And I'm like, oh, like what? She's in a movie? And so again, I haven't seen it. All I know is that she plays an heiress, I think, in the show. Is that how you say that? Heiress, you know, probably somebody like a rich girl, basically. And, and I'm sure, you know, it definitely looks like a rom com. So it's probably going to be like her meeting somebody and falling for them and that kind of thing, you know. But I feel like that was kind of like her thing. Like back in the day, like in the early mid 2000s, when she was making movies back to back to back, like a lot of what she did was, I think, rom coms, I would say. Actually, no, not even I think. I know because I've seen like, you know, if you guys remember like Freaky Friday, um, obviously, Mean Girls was like a big hit for her, and then like Parent Trap was a big one. Although she was a kid there, so that wasn't really like it wasn't really romance for her. It was more so like her parents that had the romance in that movie. And then Herbie Fully Loaded, that was a cute movie. And what's the other one? There's another one that I really, really like by that she was in. I shouldn't say by her because she didn't make the movie, but the one that she was in, she starred in it. Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. Do y'all remember that movie? I love that movie. I've seen that movie so many times. They used to show it on Disney Channel all the time. Um, that's probably like my favorite that she's been in, to be honest. That was a really good one. And I love like the music and that, I don't know, I just love like the music and everything. I like, I was like watching that movie, like, I want to be in this movie. I want to play the character that she's doing. But, yeah, I feel like that was always her thing. And so, you know, it was sad that, I mean, personally, it was sad that she was going through all of these like I guess you call it like addictions and everything. But I think on the I guess the actor side of it, it was kind of a loss that once she wasn't doing movies anymore, like we weren't getting those, you know, we weren't getting those like good rom coms from her anymore. Because I feel like she was killing it for a long time. Like it was like back to back to back movies, and then you know then she disappeared for a while. So I feel like this is cool that she's getting back into the game. Um, Hopefully, you know, this movie does well for her. I haven't seen it, so I'm gonna try to tune into it sometime this weekend. And you know, it's one of those like Christmas like rom com movies, so I expect it to be cheesy and everything. Um, but I like that. You know, I that's one of the things I love about the holidays, especially around Christmas time. I keep the channel on Hallmark like 24/7 because I like those types of movies, and it just reminds me that it's like holiday season and everything, and that's pretty much the only time they'll show those types of movies. So, um, you know, I like that type of stuff. So I'm definitely gonna tune into it, and hopefully you guys will as well. And maybe we can both figure out if she still got it, like if she can still act or not. I don't know. It's been quite a while. Um, I know she had recently, or I don't know, if say recently. I think it was this year that she put out like a new song. So because if you guys don't remember, she used to do music as well as you know, along with the movies. Although I think she always thrived, you know, more with the movies. But she put out a song, wasn't bad. It was either this year or last year. So it does seem like she's trying to kind of like slowly creep back into the scene. But hopefully, like this time, she won't. it won't be so like chaotic for her and everything now that she's a little bit older and hopefully wiser and clean and sober and all that stuff. So but yeah, I'm rooting for her to get back into doing, movies and stuff. I feel like, and this could be like a whole other conversation, like maybe I should make a whole episode about this, about how like Hollywood in general, but a lot of movies, like we've really been slacking on like the rom-coms. I feel like, I think again, you look back in like the early mid 2000s and it was just like rom-com city. Like they were everywhere and they were good movies. Like you look back and you watch those movies, I'm like, dang, this was a good movie. Like we need some more movies like this, man. Now, and don't get me wrong, like I know in the month of October, I was talking a lot about like a lot of the horror movies that came out that were really good. And I think I've gotten a little bit more into that, like a lot of the, scary, like thriller, sci-fi, fantasy type movies. I love that stuff too. But I just love rom-coms. I don't know. I like those types of movies. And I think, I think Netflix has tried to do that. They've tried to bring that back, and it's more of like a hit or miss with them sometimes. Usually, but like I said, usually with like the holiday Christmas movies, they're all kind of like cheesy, kind of corny. But the ones that I've seen in the past few years have been good. There was one with Nina Dobrev that came out like last year, I think, that I liked. And I wrote a blog post about it too. I guess if you guys want to check it out, maybe I'll watch this movie with Lindsay Lohan and I'll write a blog post about it, and then you guys can check it out and read it if you want to. Sometimes I'll do that like every once in a while. I'll write on there's a platform called medium.com, and I'm not sure, honestly, I'm not sure how you could find me. You might be able to just like look up my name and maybe my profile will pop up. I don't know. Or what I'll do is get the link to it and then put it in the like comments. So you guys, if you guys want to go and look at anything that I've written, but again, I don't do it very often. I only do it every once in a while. I probably should write more just to like give myself practice, but I, have to find the time to do it and pick something that I do really want to write about. So maybe I'll do that for this movie as well. But anyway, back to the whole rom-com thing. I feel like we've been kind of like missing out on that. Like this generation, I feel like we haven't really had that much of that. So I don't know. I feel like they're trying to revive it, but I don't know if, I don't know if it's gonna stick. I just don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap this conversation up. I will be seeing you guys next weekend, next Saturday. And we're going to continue this conversation about Bridgerton. Like I said, I plan on trying to do like a rewatch of season 1. I don't know if I'll do a rewatch of season 2 just because like I said, I feel like I really loved season 1 more. So that's probably what I would focus on. And then we could do like a episode by episode discussion. And so I'm telling you guys ahead of time. So if you are a fan of Bridgerton, or if you know somebody who's a really big fan of Bridgerton and you want to be on the show, don't be afraid to hit me up so we can have like a full discussion about it. And I can have more than one person on, so we could do like a group discussion. We could have a lot of fun with this if you want to do it that way. And so now that I'm doing my podcast, now that I'm going live on Saturdays, I feel like that'll be a little bit more convenient for people. So again, reach out to me on social media. Or if you have my number, you can text me and just let me know if you want to be on and we can set it up. So I think that would be really fun for people to view and to listen to. But anyway, I'm going to go, and hopefully you guys will have a great rest of the weekend. I feel like I said that weird. Hopefully you guys will have a good rest of the weekend and a good week. And I'll see you on Saturday, and we'll be jumping back into Bridgerton and pretty much any other like TV movie news that I come across. I usually will see it on Twitter, and then I'm like, ooh, I should talk about that on the podcast. But anyway, if there's things that you guys want me to talk about, and if it's something I missed, like again, let me know, comment, and I'll be happy to talk about it. So I will see you guys then, and signing off. Bye-bye.